Great morning, great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I am just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for life. I'm happy and grateful for you. You know, I said it all last year. We haven't talked since last year, but I'm going to continue to say it. I'm happy and I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being accountability for me, especially in the year of 2022. I don't know about you, but I am excited that this is our first Meal Prep Monday in the new year of 2023. I declare, decree that 2023, we will be the best versions of us. We are no longer learning to be the best versions, but we will be the best versions of us, and we will be it unapologetically. I don't know if that is grammatically correct, but it just is what it is. All right. But by faith, I believe it. And I'm declaring, I'm declaring it now. And the reason I say that is because I don't know about you, but I know for me, I shared with a couple people like 2022, I felt like I was having open heart surgery with no anesthesia. It felt that way. But I'm grateful. I'm happy and I'm grateful that I'm at a place that no matter what, my emotions will not run and control me, but that I will truly count it all joy. Okay. Even when I don't feel like it, I may not be able to do it in specific moments, but I understand that feelings, emotions, they pass, they come and go, just like situations. So I am not going to be stuck in that place. All right. So again, 2023, I'm still going to remind you that you are healthy, that you are wealthy, that you are prosperous, that everything that your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow great things because you are great. You are created in love, you are love, and you give love. As long as we're doing that in a submissive way, walking it out through humility, it just is what it is. It must manifest itself, okay? And last year, we start every year off with Habakkuk 2:2. We start every year off writing the vision and making it plain. I hope that you were able to go back and look over your year. We've done it the last few years, okay? You go back and you reflect, and the things that were not completed, you still believe for them. All right. Our time is not Jehovah God's time, but it is important for us to be intentional. All right. It's important for us to have goals. And today, I just want to talk to you about being intentional. All right. Because when we get to a place, because it's the beginning of the year, I don't do New Year resolutions. I do write vision. I believe in vision. I believe that you need direction. If you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to go in circles. Okay. But this year, I want us to be intentional. All right. And intentional. What is intentional? Let me see. I had it pulled up. I try to, Lord, the blood. Okay. Intentional is when it's done on purpose or it's deliberate. All right. So 2023, when we write the vision and make it plain, I want us to be intentional on what we do. Okay. You got to be intentional. You have to be. You can't just listen, because this is the thing. Your mind has the ability to create. All right. Your mind has the ability to create. It's spiritual. Where your mind is spiritual, your brain is physical. All right. So even in writing your vision, even in thinking about writing your vision, even in everything that you're doing pertaining to your vision, you got to understand that created from your mind. Okay. Because your mind is spiritual. Our brain, don't overthink your vision. All right. Listen. And the reason I say that is because let me go to my notes. You have to be specific because your intentions, when you're intentional, you're thinking and you're writing it from a specific place. All right. It's not general. When you're intentional about something, you have to be specific. Okay. You don't just generally write a vision. No, you think about it. You think about it from your mind. Because your mind is spiritual, you can create from your mind. You can dream from your mind. Like all of this is, we have it in an abundance, okay? Because it's something spiritual. It's something that God has given us. He's given us all a mind, okay? Our brain will try to make us limit our creativity, but when you write the vision and you make it plain, you want to do it from your mind. You don't want to do it from how much money do I have? How much can I afford? How big can my vision afford to be? No, sir, no, ma'am. All right? Because your mind is spiritual. And check this out. If you believe that your spirit with a soul wrapped in this flesh, and you understand that your mind is spirit, then when you begin to write the vision from your mind, when you begin to write it from the creativity that's within you, when you begin to dream and envision it, what you're doing is really lining up with who and what you are. Truly, the predestined, preordained footsteps that you have. Your predestined, your purpose is not based on your job. It's not based on your bank account. It's not based on what people think. It's none of those things. So we got to stop limiting ourselves when we serve a limitless God. Okay? We got to start limiting ourselves. Well, Nicole, I don't serve God. Listen, I don't know who and what you serve. Don't really care. I know who and what I serve. I serve Jehovah God. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter because we're all spirit with a soul wrapped in flesh. And you're serving something when you're not serving you. Even when you're not serving, especially when you're not serving yourself. But serving yourself, you're still serving something. All right? So serve the predestined, preordained footsteps that belong to you. Got to be intentional, all right? Because this is the thing. Habits can be broken with intentional thinking. Your habits can be broken when you think intentionally. And honestly, intentional thinking is the first step. It's the first thing you have to activate to think the next thought. Okay? But anything that you have a habit about, a bad habit, all right? If you're one, I'm guilty. I will set an agenda, okay? Because I do brain dumps. So I'll set an agenda and I'll know as I'm writing the brain dump, it may be 9 o'clock. I'm saying I'm going to get up at 5:30 and I'm going to spend 30 minutes of quiet time before I even go into my prayer time. I'm going to spend 30 minutes of quiet time. Now, I know this at 9 o'clock. If I know I'm trying to get up in the morning, why would I start cleaning the kitchen at 11? And then I'm up till 2. And then when I oversleep, I begin to justify it and say, I'm just not a morning person. No. If you have a goal and you have a thought and you're intentional on it, on fulfilling it, you'll learn to kill your flesh. You'll learn to die to yourself. Oh, no. You know what? I'm not tired, but it's 10 o'clock. Let me cut everything down. Let me not stimulate my physical body. Let me just rest. Let me close my eyes. I do it with Cairo and Sarai all the time. I tell them to close their eyes. And little Sarai eyes be this tight because she's not tired. Her body is not physically tired. We'll see her, blinking, eyes tight, all of that. But if she stays in that posture, eventually she falls asleep. All right? Because she's dying to herself. She's killing her flesh. See, we got to be intentional, okay? And we got to understand intentional thinking can break habits. All right? So if I am intentional about getting up at 5:30 in the morning, then I will stop myself when I find myself going and doing things that's going to avoid what I'm intending to do intentionally. Okay. So problems have to be solved on the next level. This is why you have to have intentional thinking. All right. So if you think about it, if you have a problem or if you have an issue that you're trying to resolve, but you keep trying to resolve it on the same level of where the issue is, you're like that hamster. Okay, you're like that hamster that runs in that whatever that thing is, that little circle thing. You just moving, and them little things be going fast. They'll get so fast that little wheel just be and getting nowhere. Just tired. That's the only thing you get when you run in circles. You're not accomplishing anything. You're not getting ahead. All right. This is why even when you start thinking about your vision and you're writing your vision and you're making it plain, you've got to be intentional to do the action and do the work in the next step, or it will not come to pass. All right. So when you're thinking about, solving problems, you got to be intentional. I say it all the time. You got to think the next thought, because for every action, there's a reaction. You have to think the next thought intentionally so that you can set goals and you can set game plans. Okay. So make sure your intentions are specific, not general. All right. When you're intentional, you're specific in what you'll do. If I'm intentional on waking up in the morning, then I am going to set a specific time that's going to give me the hours that I need to be able to get up that early and function. I'm not going to be general. Oh, well, I'm just going to go to sleep. I'm going to go to sleep so that I can get up at 5:30 in the morning. Listen, I should be going to sleep anyway. We go to sleep every night. We're supposed to. Okay. So that's too general. I will have to be intentional to be in bed by 9 o'clock so that when it takes me an hour to fall asleep, I will be asleep by 10 o'clock so that I can get up in the morning by 5 o'clock, 5:30, whatever time I just said in the example. You got to be specific with your intentions, okay? Attentions allows the mind to attract on the level that is required, all right? When we have intentional thinking, it will draw to us, because you got to remember, the mind is spiritual, the brain is physical, right? It will draw to us at the level that we need to fulfill the goal, to fulfill the vision. So it will draw to us the people, the resources, open doors, everything that we need at the level, not where we are. Okay. This is why when I say to be intentional about your vision, when you write your vision, it's coming from your mind. It's not coming from your situations. Okay. It's not coming from that. If it's on you, if it's laid on your heart to start a business, then you start the business. You write the vision for the business based off of what you see, not what you have. Oh, Lord. And then you got to be intentional. When you're writing your vision for 2023, be intentional to keep it on the forefront of your mind. Okay. You got to keep it on the forefront of your mind. So that's why we go to Habakkuk 2:2 at the beginning of every January. We write the vision, we make it plain so that those who are around us will see it and they can run with it too. What is that? They can encourage you. They can keep you accountable. They can do all these things because we know, because it's on the forefront of our mind, we're intentional, we're specific. We know that at its appointed time, it must come to pass. So in the process and in the processing and the walking that out, we're intentional. We keep it on the forefront. And then we're going to gravitate the things that we need to make it grow, to make it move as we're putting the action to what we're doing, okay? Intentions are magnified. Their clarity of thought. When we're intentional about something, it magnifies what we're doing. So when we set a vision, we set a goal, and we're intentional, we're working, we're doing these things, we're keeping it in the forefront of our head. That is the stuff that will dismiss what people say. That's the way we dismiss what people think. That's the way we check our emotions when we're feeling some kind of way. That's the way we don't self-sabotage, which we're going to talk about next week. We won't sabotage ourselves, because I don't know if you realize this, but we all self-sabotage to some level. All right? We're going to talk about it next week. We all self-sabotage. But before we can talk about that, we got to get the intentional piece. All right? We got to learn to be intentional. A lot of what we desire and even what we're deserved, it doesn't happen because we're never intentional. And because we're not intentional about our thinking, that's why I told y'all last week, we got to get rid of the stinking thinking. Okay? You can't, I don't want you to be intentional in stinking thinking. You got to get rid of the stinking thinking so that we can be specific, in our intentional thinking. Okay? That's what's going to help manifest. That's what's going to draw. That's when you start going into rooms and you meet Tyler Perry in the grocery store because you're there. See, that's the kind of stuff, because now we're intentional, we're specific about our vision. We have it on the forefront of our mind. When our flesh and our feelings start trying to discourage us, it's so embedded and we're walking it out that we can't be moved. And then stuff just start happening. People start sowing into your vision. Money starts coming from the north, south, east, and west. You start meeting people that are prominent, that are prosperous, that have access to different levels, because you're no longer thinking and acting on the level that you're at, but you begin to elevate. Okay? You want your vision, your thinking, your intentionalities to be at the level that you're trying to get to. You don't want it where you are. If you do it where you are, you just gonna keep going in circles. We ain't going in circles, we going up. We're walking forward. We ain't walking like this. All right? Only time I'm spinning is when I'm in the church and it's a command, and it's a by faith action of a prophetic word that has been spoken over me. I don't walk through life in circles, okay? So listen, and you got to understand the process, because you write the vision, you make it plain. What's the next step? From vision, you go to strategies, okay? That's your intentionality of being specific, your strategy. That's going to take you to the goal. All right? See, this is how we set goals. You start with the vision. You're intentional on your thoughts. You're intentional in your mind. You're intentional on what you did. Then you start setting your goals. And doing it that way, then you can put action. That's when the activity comes. That's when we start walking it out. Okay? That's when who has access to you and your accountability. That's where all that takes place. Remember, this Meal Prep Monday, all right? Mindset, education, accountability. Your life has to show it, all right? Man, listen, you got to be in harmony with your vision, okay? Got to be in harmony with your vision. If you don't understand anything else, and I tell you guys all the time, I don't do time management. I do self-management, because time is what it is. All right. The past, the present, and the future, they all operate at the same time, because time is what it is. We can't get it back. We can't fast forward it. We can't do any of that. All right. Most of us have a hard time just living in the present, living in the moment of the minute and the day and the hour that you have. Most of us right there, we just stuck. Okay, we don't even know how to handle present. We don't even know how to be present. Well, I'm not going to say we, I'm going to talk about me. I don't even know how to be present in the moment that I have. All right. So I fully understand that we have limited time. All right. So you have to make sure that your energy is being used wisely, that your thoughts and where your thoughts go, that they're used wisely, because you can't get the past back. You're wrestling with being in the present, and you can't predict the future. Okay. So you got to make sure that you're creating your goals even based off of your vision. This is why it's so important. All right. Because intentions allow us to take the right steps. All right. It allows us to, so the time that we have, the 24 hours in the day that we use to mark this calendar, we have to be intentional, so that we are intentional on walking in the steps that are predestined and preordained. All right. Your time can be used however you choose to use it. Okay. But we in 2023, we're no longer learning how to be the best version of us. We are being the best version of us. Okay. So we're going to be intentional, and that's going to allow us to, in the time that we have, be in our right steps, be in our right relationships, be in our right environment. I told y'all before, you are supposed to be somewhere, not everywhere. All right. In this predestined, preordained life, you are supposed to be somewhere in every moment, not everywhere. So we got to be intentional. All right. And we got to know that nothing happens until you make it happen. All right. Nothing happens in your life until you make it happen. So you want your vision to come to pass, you make it happen. You want to be mad, you make it happen. You want to be stuck and bitter and resentful and not forgive, you make it happen. But at the end of the day, what does that profit you? What is the intentionality of that? You're intentionally sabotaging yourself when you choose to be in those areas. All right. Because intentions are intentions, on the right side or the wrong. All right. You also got to know that you'll never achieve anything without an action. If you don't do anything, you won't achieve anything. Okay. We can write the vision, we can make it plain, we can come up with intentional thinking, we can strategize, we can write these goals, but if you do nothing, it will be nothing. All right. Remember that. I know I'm going fast. It's 10:27. So as we prepare, I'm gonna stop because I could just keep going and going and going and going. As we prepare for 2023 and we write the vision, we do this at the beginning of every year. We write the vision, we make it plain. Habakkuk 2:2. Go read it again, okay? You can read the same thing every day when it comes. Listen, personal growth and self-development, mandatory, all right? But I tell y'all all the time, the first book, the included book, everything that you want to read and plug into has to be the Bible, all right? Period. That's the main book that you should have for personal growth and self-development, all right? And you got to remember that your thoughts should never be driven by your emotions. I told you, because your feelings shouldn't dictate, because they come and go, all right? They come and go. What you have to allow to dictate you are your dreams and your visions, all right? Because they come from your mind. Where's the mind come from? It's spirit. Where's the brain? It's physical. We don't create the vision from the brain. We create it from the mind, okay? That's how we're gonna talk next week about self-sabotage, all right? But I just want you to remember that intentions, they help you to succeed, all right? They help you to succeed. And just know that your mind has enough resources. You have an overabundance, all right? You have an overabundance of imagination. You have an overabundance of creativity. You have an overabundance of the ability to dream. All right. I am not as creative as Khadijah. That is a gift, but that does not mean that I don't create. That does not mean that I'm not creative. See, when we're intentional in understanding that we possess what everyone else has, it's tailor-made for us. We'll stop looking at what other people can do and we'll start pulling and exercising it. I realize that my creativity doesn't come out because I don't exercise and practice the muscle. All right. So be intentional. All right. It's Meal Prep Monday. It's our first Monday into 2023. And when you write the vision and you make it plain, I want you to be intentional. I want you to be specific. I want you to write it from your mind and not your brain. I want you to remember that your mind is a spiritual thing, that your brain is physical. So you are able to write it from this place. And then we are going to be intentional to come up with strategic goals and plans. There are strategic planning to set our goals, and we're going to be active to see them through. And we're going to stay accountable to one another. All right. That was a lot. It's 10:31. Man, it's 10:31. So I just want you to remember to stay humble, stay focused, and stay positive. Continue to be the best version of you unapologetically. All right. Continue to have a fantabulous rest of the day. Smooches.